Good evening, welcome again to Oak Island Research Channel. And in this video, which is going to be in several parts to make it shorter, otherwise it would take the day, I'm going to explain you how to find with the instruction, or how I found the first anchor point, almost by chance. And then I will do it a part two with the method that the author wanted to use. I still want to show you how I got to this because nobody told me connect this to that and do this with that. I saw, as you saw in the previous video, alignments. My wife told me there was something wrong with the way some words were spelled, but I didn't know anymore. So I started to research then. And my biggest problem with this map was where to start with. Now, if this was a treasure map on top of which hidden lines were, and you need to put that map on the island somewhere to reveal something, you would need, first of all, a scale to understand what's the factor I need to make that map grow so that 1 centimeter on the map, maybe 1 meter on the field, or maybe 2, or maybe 10. That's the scale. What's the ratio between any distance on my Rochefoucauld map and the real island if this is not a hoax and if this map reveals an overlay of lines. So I need a scale to understand the size, and I'll get back to that later because I didn't have conscience of that when I was exploring this document. I was really doing my best to find the weird things and try to associate them. So I need a scale, and I need then either an anchor point, but then I would need an angle because I can rotate my map around this anchor point. But if I got two anchor points, that's it. With two anchor points, I can lock my map somewhere. If I got two anchors on the island and I know on my map the two anchors are this point and that point, I can make them match. I can anchor my map on the island, provided that I use the scale to make it grow so that the anchor points match. And that's if I was given a map by somebody saying there's a treasure on this island and this is a treasure map, I would first look for the anchors on the island, which is a steady point revealed by Nolan's survey. We know those points, and they've been there for a long time. And I would need a scale. So there's probably indication about a scale somewhere on this map, and there is probably indication on how to map and draw the two anchor points on this map. And there is a method that I will reveal in the next coming video. All I want to do now is explain you how I did it at the time that I didn't understand there was a method. And I was wrong. All this is wrong. Bear with me. All this is not how it was built. This is how I came up with it. Just to show you my thought process. So my wife tells me and reveals me something's wrong with the word ver, and that there's a sound system in place, a sound game, a sound play, something to do with sound. And in French, when you say, where do I start with? That was my problem. In French is comment commencer, how to start. And commencer, I heard the sound ans, commencer, ans. And I say, I got an ans. So maybe commence is comme ans. And that's where you got to start. And that's wrong again, huh? But that's how I started. You know, when you discover things. Comment ans. And the whole thing there in la ans is la commence, and I'm voluntarily, putting emphasis on the sound. And comment commence, that's the same sound. So you can contract it to la commence, which means in English, there start. And I was lucky because this is wrong, but it got me somewhere nevertheless. And it said there start, so I'm starting there. And I'm following instruction. What's the first instruction? Le trou sous la trappe. When I read that now, I know it's not the right way, so it's kind of funny for me to describe something I know is wrong. But again, that's how I found it 10 days ago. So they tell us le trou sous la trappe. So this is the hole under the trap. So that's what I'm going to do. They ask me to put le trou under the trap. I'm going to put le trou under the trap, which I did here. And then I read la trappe le trou. La trappe le trou, which in phonetic French sound can be understood as la attrape le trou. La trappe le trou. There, grab the hole. And I found it at the moment very strange. Am I making something there? Is it far stretched out? It is stretched out because I didn't have the method, but it was appealing to me. I knew There had a problem. So there had a problem and could be read in other sounds to other meanings, and that's what I was doing there, reorganizing the sound to change the meaning. So there I grabbed a hole. And then I asked myself, what hole? There's a lot of hole. And I carried on reading. And then I saw some pattern starting. La. Every time there's a la, I said there. There. Look at la means there. So every time there's a la soupape, which is the article you use on soupape. La soupape is common French to describe the hubcap. But la also means, when you put an accent on the A, means there. And there we go again. There. Sous. Sous meaning underneath. Misspelled. But I think you understood. We don't care about the spelling. We care about the sound. There. Under. Là. Sous. Le. Dessin. Le. Bas. Le. Bar. I picked some letters and reconstituted new sounds because I was stuck with my pap there. That didn't lead me anywhere. But what was leading somewhere is là, sous le dessin, underneath the drawing, le bas, at the bottom, le bar. And then it took me 6 seconds, and then there's a flash in my head, the bar. We're not talking about the bar when you drink beer, and we're not talking about a bar of cereal. We're talking about the bar of fish. In French, a bar is also a place you drink, also a bar of cereal, but also a sea bass. And I went down under, and I saw that sea bass. And very interestingly, and I think everybody does that, when you look at that map the first time and you analyze it, you don't mind much about the fish. There's a little fish hanging there, but there's a lot of text, and there's a lot of signs, and so you don't pay much attention to the fish. Now, I'm going to tell you something. The fish is the most important feature on the whole map. And we're going to use it over and over again. You'll see that. So it's pointing to the fish there. And maybe I was tripping, maybe I was still making that up. So it said là, le bar. So, and there's a hole. That's the I. And I was wrong again. And that proved me wrong. But fair enough. I was learning. So it says there, là, attrape le trou, là, sous le dessin, le bas, le bar. So seriously, it was saying there, grab the hole. Underneath the drawing at the bottom, the sea bass. And that's the hole. It's wrong, but it made so much sense. I'm like, okay, let's carry on. What should I connect that bar to? So I got my first point, the fish eye hole, and then I connect to what? And I keep on reading. After le bar, we got la ancre. And ancre, just like in English, the word for an anchor is also the verb to anchor. Same in French. So it was saying there, là, do the anchorage, anchor something. Anchor S. Là, encre S. There. Anchor S. Okay, sounds like okay, but what S? I've got like thousands of S on this map. Which S? And then something incredible happened. I was looking at the map upside down, left and right, bottom up, and then it came flash bang in my eyes on that d'Aprenustria piece of word. Here, Sept dessins pour François Rochefoucauld. I had the drawing turned upside down, and just to show you what I saw, so that you're with me, delete, I saw this. That's set. And I thought, geez, this is very well aligned. Those bottom points are aligned. The TT are aligned. The bars, that represents something. That's strange. Isn't that a hook? That's a hook. Oh, that's a rope. Oh my gosh, that's an anchor. And it really, I'm like, no way. You can't do that. You cannot get the anchor that way. And they did. And that starts to reveal how the whole map is set up. We're going to play with sounds of words. That's going to engage us in other words that get the same sound but mean differently. And we're going to engage in graphic riddles set with the hook. And then I understood. I understood. It's the fish. It comes to the hook to eat the worm. And the little D is your fishing rod. And people are going to say, hey, you're crazy, man. What are you doing? This is very peculiar. Yes, it is. Whoever wrote that map, and maybe that's the reason why publicly on YouTube or on the internet, you don't find those interpretations. First of all, you need to be totally fluent French to really understand the second meaning, and one sound may mean 6 words. That you need to be fluent French to a point, I think, you live in the country for 10 plus years, or your mom or dad is French and that's the language they taught you. I lived in in English-speaking countries for 6 years in my life, and that's why I speak English, but not to that level. You give me the same riddles in English, I can't do it. So this was almost intended for French people, I can say, but you have to be French to decode that, really. A dictionary wouldn't help. This is beyond dictionary. So I found that my fish, and I found that set there, but I haven't found my S yet. Well, if I consider the set is the anchor, I've got the anchor de S. L'encre de S. It's telling me. It said earlier, there do anchor S. And they're saying anchor of S. It's written there. You see how tricky this is? It's about separating existing words and rereading it, and the sound means something else. So here it says anchor to S. So that's what I did. I took the fish I and I anchored it to S. And I saw that it was hitting the bark there at the bottom of the L. And the only way to prove me right, and that's the beautiful thing about the work we're doing with dot to dot, is dot to dot's coming from a geometric progression based on Nolan's cross and Nolan's survey, and then he plug in the La Formula text into it, and he's doing it with this approach. It doesn't interpret the Rochefoucauld map. All I'm coming from is the La Rochefoucauld map. And what's extraordinary and what struck us and made us friends over a week is that we reached the same result by two different approaches. And we're working on a third one to triple prove we're right. Because when I overlaid that line on my graphic that I already was on dot to dot's map, I could see my fish at the bottom here. The eye was connecting, and probably I redid some work on the lines here, but now it's connecting to the south anchor. And I followed instruction. I didn't discover it. And actually, the first time I didn't see it when I did just the graphical viewable analysis. And when I follow the instruction, connect that S to that I reached the south anchor. But if I was on my map with my island 200 years ago, I wouldn't have dot to dot drawing that for me with a satellite image. I wouldn't know. So this is just an easy way to confirm I'm on the right track. The intersection of the bark line and the intersection of the fish eye to the S of dessin, found by La Encre in dessin, and the riddle on the left, give me the south anchor, which is an extremely important point in our story. And dot to dot proved me wrong later, that I was tiny little bit wrong in my interpretation. And again, we de-engineered. We look at what it should be, and then I realized I was wrong in my interpretation and got the correct interpretation. And that's a beautiful thing. Without dot to dots maps, I couldn't confirm or say no to any hypothesis I would make. So it's really complementary, and now I'm giving him hints somehow with what I found in the text, and we verify in the map, and vice versa. He finds things on the alignments and on the geometric progression, and he asks me, did you find anything in French in that document leading to that? So it's a unique chance, and that's probably the reason why nobody ever cracked that before, is whatever I saw on the net, thousands of alignments on this island, everybody was making on assumptions. But it's the first and only time we got two different sources of work that converge and can complement, validate, double cross, etc. So that's my south anchor. In the next video, I'll show you how to get the north anchor. And I will start showing you the real method to get it and how the author wants us to get it. And I will slowly realign with precision those lines. So next video, we're going to learn the official way of using that map, and we're going to find our north anchor. So once we get our north anchor that we know on the island, that we know on the map, the south anchor that we know on the island, that we know on the map, you would think you don't need a scale since you found the anchors. Well, again, we're not supposed to know. You have to align those points on the anchors. Maybe aligning them like 4 dots align is sufficient to the map owner. Saying, hey, I found my 2 stones and rocks on the island, and my map, well, I managed to align those points. Fair enough, I'm done. No. You need to scale it. You need the point to match. And the third part of our explanation is how to find the scale. Okay, so bear with us, and there'll be more videos to come about those points. So again, if you find the 2 anchor points on the scale, you can overlay your La Rochefoucauld map precisely on every line you see from dot to dot on the one hand, but on the island, so that we got other indication on our La Rochefoucauld map that's going to help us progress to whatever's got to be found. So one step at a time, but that's the idea. The two anchors, the two anchors, the scale, and then you start using your map on the overlay of the island. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment and subscribe. And I will put, of course, my friend Dot to Dots channel on the comments. Talk to you later. Bye bye.